back on the second installment of critiquing your art. So I had another person reply. Let's go click on their art and see what they're doing. So I see again as it's loading, we have an Instagram account, and I always get worried whenever people do Instagram accounts because usually their art isn't Instagram specific, and so then they're really letting, Instagram or the platform dictate how their work is shown. So we scroll down here and we see mostly drawing work on paper, a lot of figurative work, a couple animals, what appear to be a couple digital illustrations. Okay, that's all the way down here. They have some animals down here. So I actually really like this one of the bee. I like these little animal studies. I think that they're actually pretty cute, um, although they're probably definitely done from a picture. But I think the biggest thing is I look at this and I see such a weird crop on here, and I'm kind of into the fact that you're like photographing, like you're taking a piece of paper, then you're either scanning it or photographing it and cropping it heavily. But I really have no sense of scale or size when I'm viewing the image, so I look at it and I have no idea how big you drew it, although I can kind of tell by your text on this one. But you have like these other drawings coming into the page, which I'm actually like really into and excited on a like contemporary art level, and I think that that's something worth exploring. Like I love that you have different illustrations all sharing the page, and then you kind of crop into them and reuse them. I think that that's actually really smart. But I would love to see more of a sense of scale with these so that I can, I or the viewer can effectively understand what it is that's happening. Like, because, you don't want, this is not work that I feel directly lives on Instagram. And so I feel like this is work that lives in real life, like either in your sketchbook or on pieces of paper. And I would like to see that reflected in the way that you document the work. So I look at this and I think to myself, okay, like how, either including like measurements or ruler, like when I click on it, say what size it is, maybe not have these weird crops, which is such a strange thing. There are times when I'm into it and there are times when I'm not. Like I love this photo because it allows you to see how it is. So I think if you went and like did a story or like did a kind of presented the work in a way where you would have maybe like close-in crops, not on Instagram but on your own website. Although you could use Instagram to have like the stories swipe feature, but you have crops of each individual one, and then you have all of them on the page. And I love the idea of an artwork existing, you know, in multiple parts and then also all together. Um, to me, that's actually a term from sculptural composition called relative composition. Um, I think the ones that strike me as more interesting is, I see you're starting to explore concepts in all of these, and I'd love some of the kind of weird, bizarre ones, like this one with two nude women with bird heads licking ice cream. Or I saw one here that I really like. Like I like this one where using magic to play with your cat. I think that that's really great, and I definitely would encourage you more to explore those concepts and those designs. But I think taking them a little bit further. Um, you know, I'd like to see you explore something that is, not necessarily from your head or that you're imagining, but something that you are witnessing. I think what I'd like to see more of in your work, or what would excite me, would to see more observation. It's not necessarily to say that you have to draw what's in front of you, but to kind of reflect something that you're experiencing or going through. Like I think that this is really cool. What you're doing here at this one with the kind of like cyborg face, but I'd like to see um, something that is more closely related to you, because then even just to see it and then decide maybe it's not for you, but that would necessarily give me, the viewer, like an insight into something that is beyond the image, you know, into a feeling or an emotion. I also think that you should consider more exploring the negative space on the pieces of paper, like treating each piece of paper as its own composition, which is, I mean, it goes contradictory to what I was saying before about using the same piece of paper for multiple drawings, which I like. Um, but I'd like to see, I think ones where you incorporate the background are a lot more visually interesting to look at. But again, visually interesting to look at isn't necessarily the most interesting thing of a work of art. I also think that a lot of these, you know, people that you're drawing seem very generic, like they're very, um, you know, like this is just very much just a nude woman, or this is just very much a nude man. And I like to see more specific people, you know, like why am I looking at this person? Why, what separates this from, you know, every other figure study I've seen? So that's my critique. Be sure to check back tomorrow. I have new videos coming out every day. Be sure to subscribe and let me know how you feel about it. I hope you have a wonderful day.